Hello there. Welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be diving into the book summary of 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. This groundbreaking book offers a fresh perspective on time management and productivity. So, let's dive into the summary of this incredible book. But before we dive into the content, I kindly request a moment of your time to appreciate this video by liking it, subscribing to the channel, and ringing that notification bell. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you so much. In a world where we are constantly striving to do more and be more, 4,000 Weeks challenges the conventional wisdom that tells us we must maximize every moment of our lives. Author Oliver Burkeman argues that the pursuit of productivity and busyness often leads to burnout and dissatisfaction. Instead, he encourages readers to embrace the reality of our limited time on Earth, approximately 4,000 weeks, and to prioritize what truly matters in life. Burkeman suggests that we should shift our focus from trying to cram more tasks into our already packed schedules to making intentional choices about how we spend our time. By letting go of the pressure to be constantly productive, we can find greater fulfillment and meaning in our lives. 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman is a thought-provoking book that challenges us to reevaluate how we spend our limited time on Earth. Burkeman offers practical advice on how to embrace uncertainty, overcome anxiety, and lead a more meaningful life. 4,000 Weeks explores concepts of time and time management, arguing that our modern attempts to optimize our time leave us stressed and unhappy. Drawing upon the work of ancient and contemporary philosophers, psychologists, and spiritual leaders, this book proposes a path to cultivating a fulfilling life through embracing our limitations. 4,000 Weeks explores time management from a different point of view, tapping into ancient knowledge from famous philosophers, researchers, and spiritual figures to help us let go of our modern ideals of constant self-optimization and high-level performance in favor of a more sustainable understanding of time. Oliver Burkeman is a feature writer for The Guardian. His accolades include winning the Foreign Press Association's Young Journalist Award and being shortlisted for the Orwell Prize. He writes a popular weekly psychology column. This column will change your life. Time is our most precious resource, yet many of us fail to realize it. Time scarcity is what makes it so valuable, yet time management is a skill that many find difficult to master. Truth be told, it's actually much easier than you think, because I'm not referring to managing your days more productively, becoming a more optimized version of yourself every day, or improving efficiency by managing time correctly. In fact, 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman aims to emphasize precisely the opposite of the hustler mentality. In a world focused on organizing their time to the last minute, optimizing their financial status at the cost of their life, and leveraging our resources to get the most out of them, we've forgotten how to actually live in the present and enjoy life. Moreover, the book will make you realize why it's impossible to master your time and why you shouldn't make it a priority anymore. For now, let's explore my 3 favorite lessons from the book. As humans started to analyze and understand time, it became more valuable to them. Boost productivity by leaving room for procrastination and prioritizing your tasks. Spare time should be used for family activities and hobbies. Now, we'll take each lesson and explore it in detail so as to learn everything there is to know about them. Lesson 1. Humans didn't care much about their days before time wasn't considered such an important factor. If we take a look at history, we can notice that people didn't always observe time as we do today. Back in medieval times, people went on with their life thinking about daily struggles, how they have to work the land, take care of the animals, or about things they've heard in the village. However, time played its role as well, as they had to crop and harvest during a certain season, wake up before dawn, and finish up certain things before sunset. However, people didn't think about it the way we do today. They didn't try to organize every day in advance or optimize their workflow constantly to save more time. Due to the fact that religion helped spread the belief in the afterlife, people didn't value their limited days on Earth that much. Frankly, this is both a good and a bad thing. Stress and anxiety were definitely lower back then, as people weren't pressured by deadlines and limited hours. Still, development happened at a much slower pace. But living in such a developed world today, are we feeling better about ourselves? Are we enjoying life more? Not really. The constant pressure of managing our time better led us to forget about the end goal, enjoying life as it is. As such, the lesson here is to stop structuring everything in your life. Leave time for blank thoughts, white space, and unstructured time. Simply put, enjoy life, don't spend all of it planning. Lesson 2. Prioritizing and accepting procrastination can lead to enhanced productivity. Let's start by debunking a common myth. Everybody procrastinates. Yes, even the most successful online gurus, motivational speakers, and most definitely top performers do so. Why? Because this is how we're programmed to function. We cannot possibly perform at our highest parameters at all times. That's why whenever we try to do so, we eventually end up becoming burnt out. Not allowing unstructured time in your life and wanting to manage every day perfectly is an unhealthy approach to life, which you'll have to ditch sooner or later. Instead, try finding a balance between procrastination and productivity. How? By learning how to prioritize properly. When you rank your tasks from most to least important and take care of them accordingly, you're much more likely to finish things. Moreover, allow yourself to procrastinate when your mind feels tired. After doing a task, give your brain a chance to wander and rest. This will help you get back to work fresher than before. However, the time allocated for procrastination is what makes the difference. So make sure to still go back to whatever you need to do in a timely manner. Lastly, never start more projects at once thinking you can multitask. Always get things done step by step and allow yourself time to rest in between. Lesson 3. When you have free time, spend it doing the things you love. If you manage to prioritize your tasks properly, divide them into smaller chunks, and finish things faster this way, you'll find yourself having some spare time on your hands. As high-functioning adults in today's society, we tend to take on new projects whenever we find that our schedules get a bit loose. However, the author recommends slowing down and taking some time to rest and reset. The decline of leisure that started decades ago provoked a huge buildup in stress, frustration, and anxiety that the previous generation passed on to the future ones. As educated adults, it's time for us to change that. First thing first, find a hobby that brings you pleasure. You might feel reticence in picking up activities that don't bring financial benefits, but that's only a reaction induced by your overachieving brain. Therefore, you must find pleasure in being mediocre at something, having a hobby, or exploiting a passion. Moreover, fill up the rest of your free time with quality moments spent with your family and friends. Again, there's no need to look for profits in everything, but rather learn to relax. Contrary to popular belief, spending more time undertaking leisure activities will boost your productivity in the long run. 4,000 Weeks suggests we shouldn't optimize our schedules, but rather leave room for unstructured time and leisure activities. By learning how to enjoy the little things, find pleasure in hobbies, and reconnect with our dear ones, we can improve the quality of our lives significantly. Reading this book will have you rethink your time management and the lack of free time in your life, making you take action to change your situation for the better. 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman explores the concept of time and how we can make the most of our limited weeks on Earth. Here's why this book is worth reading. It challenges traditional ideas about productivity and time management, offering a refreshing perspective on how to live a fulfilling life. By sharing personal stories and drawing from philosophical and scientific research, the book provides thought-provoking insights on our relationship with time. With its humorous and relatable anecdotes, the book ensures that exploring the topic of time doesn't become dull, keeping readers engaged throughout. Those are the individuals who truly deserve to immerse themselves in this extraordinary book. Time management gurus, philosophy students, aspiring creatives, and entrepreneurs. The 30-year-old person who wants to ditch time management practices that lead to burnout. The 28-year-old who lives an unfulfilling married life due to an increased time spent at the office. Or the 37-year-old entrepreneur who wants to find a better balance between work and leisure time. One of the key insights of the book is the concept of time affluence, which refers to the feeling of having enough time to do the things that matter most to us. Burkeman argues that time affluence is a more valuable resource than material wealth or career success. When we prioritize the activities that bring us joy and fulfillment, we can experience a greater sense of well-being and satisfaction. For 1,000 Weeks also challenges the popular notion of work-life balance, suggesting that the divide between work and leisure is artificial and limiting. Instead, Burkeman encourages readers to integrate work and leisure in a way that allows for a more holistic and fulfilling life. The average human lifespan is abysmally brief. Living to be 80 years old gives you around 4,000 weeks. It's no secret that time is one of our most precious resources. Today, many of us are haunted by the feeling that we should be more productive, more efficient, or devoting our time to something else entirely. The truth is that our obsession with productivity is taking a toll. Instead of reaching a perfect state of efficiency, life hacks and time management techniques leave us feeling stressed and empty. In these insights, you'll discover ideas about time and time management that encourage you to let go of traditional approaches and embrace the joy of finitude. In these insights, you'll learn why you should take up a hobby rather than a side hustle, how the pre-modern concept of eternity informed how people spent their time, and how to improve your procrastination skills. 1. You'll never be able to master your time. For most of human history, people have wanted to be rich so that they wouldn't have to work as hard. But in recent years, being busy has become a lauded life choice known as hustle. Research shows that the wealthier you are, the more likely you are to be anxious about not having enough time to get everything done. And our capitalist economy is to blame. Capitalism drives us to leverage our time, abilities, and resources in order to reap the greatest profit. In the process, many wealthy people achieve success at the cost of living a meaningful life. Meanwhile, the gig economy has forced those less fortunate to work multiple jobs with little financial security. Of course, being too busy isn't everybody's problem. But for those of us who are obsessed with filling every waking moment with productivity, it's time we took a deeper look at this desire. The key message here is, you'll never be able to master your time. As a self-proclaimed productivity nut, the author spent years attempting to optimize his time management skills. He bought expensive notepads, experimented with techniques like scheduling his day in 15-minute blocks, and sorted his life into A, B, and C priorities. These methods made him feel like he was always on the brink of mastering his productivity. But the day on which he finally conquered his time never arrived. Instead, he was left feeling more anxious than ever. One day he had an epiphany. His efforts to optimize his time were futile. While he thought of himself as a productive person, the painful truth was that the tasks he fulfilled most effectively were insignificant. Sure, he could dutifully clear his inbox, but responding to emails only led to more emails. Meanwhile, things which were important to him, like researching an article he planned to write, were left undone. The author's experiences taught him an important lesson. The more you try to conquer your time, the more frustrated, stressed, and empty you feel. He calls this the paradox of limitation. But in reality, you'll never be able to accomplish everything you'd like to. And by facing this fact, you can begin to focus on what matters. In the author's case, giving up the desire to master time and surrendering to the unknown changed his life. He even committed to a long-term relationship and started a family. 2. Our ways of thinking about time are inherently modern. If you were a peasant in early medieval England, your problems might have included rampant disease, making payments to the church, or performing backbreaking labor for the lord who owned the land you lived on. But one problem you wouldn't have faced was struggling with your time. As a farmer, you'd have risen with the sun and gone to sleep at dusk. Tasks like milking the cows and harvesting crops would have been done as needed. As for timing things, you might have said that a task took as long as a miserere while, or the time it takes to recite Psalm 50 from the Bible. And since farm work was indefinite, there was no need to rush to complete a task. 3. By facing our finitude, we can cultivate a fulfilling life. Any inquiry into time would be incomplete without considering the work of the German philosopher Martin Heidegger. In his magnum opus Being and Time, Heidegger argues that our finite human existence is bound with time. In other words, we are the limited time that we spend on this planet. Our finitude defines our existence. Unfortunately, most of us spend our time avoiding or denying this fact. Heidegger calls this falling. Some of us avoid the idea of finitude by seeking distractions or losing ourselves in the daily grind. Others take comfort with the belief that they don't have to choose what to do at all. These people follow a prescriptive existence by getting married or remaining in a soul-destroying job. 4. Become a better procrastinator by prioritizing limited goals. Philosophers like Heidegger who have written about finitude tend to avoid giving practical advice about time management for fear of wandering too close to the self-help genre. But by considering Heidegger's idea that deciding what we don't want to spend time on is a core challenge, we can draw some conclusions. In short, we need to improve our ability to procrastinate. Many of us reprimand ourselves for our tendency to procrastinate. But procrastination is a human tendency and is inevitable. To become better procrastinators, it's time to shift our focus from attempting to get everything done to prioritizing what matters most. 5. There's more to your distractions than meets the eye. Even if you live to be 80, you won't really have 4,000 weeks. Life is filled with all kinds of unexpected events. And we also tend to get distracted. Philosophers since the time of the ancient Greeks have been concerned about the human proclivity toward distraction. Their chief concern has been the fact that our reality is defined by our attention. 6. Live for the present moment rather than for the future. Have you ever felt like tasks always take longer than planned? The cognitive scientist Douglas Hofstadter realized this phenomenon and gave it a name, Hofstadter's law. According to this law, if you try to give yourself extra time to account for running over time, you'll still end up running over your new estimated time. Hofstadter proclaimed his law somewhat in jest. But if you've ever tried to plan a project, you know its principle tends to be true. Yet, while we realize that life is often out of our control, many of us spend our lives tediously trying to schedule every minute of our time. 7. Take up hobbies or spend time with family and friends to reap the benefits of leisure time. In his 1962 book, The Decline of Pleasure, the critic Walter Kerr noted our increasing tendency to fill our free time with productive activities. We party to expand our network or spend a weekend at home to renovate the house. But increasingly, we fail to find the time to relax. The decline of leisure was a byproduct of the Industrial Revolution. Factory owners encouraged workers to use their time off in ways that would enhance their productivity at work. This was, ironically, exacerbated by labor reformers and union leaders who argued that workers would use their additional free time to improve themselves through education or cultural activities. Practice cosmic insignificance therapy instead of worrying about your life's purpose. One day, flying above the American Midwest during a business trip, the vice president of a medical instruments company had an epiphany that she hated her life. Though she used to feel passionate about her work, it had ceased to feel meaningful. Now she simply clung on to the hope that her hard work might lead to happiness down the line. Finding yourself doubting how you spend your days can be deeply unsettling. But it's a necessary first step toward building a fulfilling life. Writer and journalist Oliver Burkeman claims that humans make themselves miserable by mistakenly believing they should be able to get through all their tasks, to-dos, and chores in the time they've allotted them. The reality is that no matter what time management solutions they implement, humans will never have perfect control over how they spend their time. Instead, people must accept that they'll never get as much done as they'd like and work within the parameters of a finite life. Burkeman suggests a few ways to do this that not only relieve us of the guilt of not getting everything done but also let us lead happier, more fulfilled lives. In this guide, we'll discuss some of the productivity solutions Burkeman feels are misguided and explore if they might have some merit. We'll also connect his ideas to broader philosophical, scientific, and spiritual concepts about how to best use your time. Most people rush through life, trying to complete all their to-dos and maximize their productivity because they believe they should be able to get everything done. However, in 4,000 Weeks, Oliver Burkeman argues that the idea that you can wield perfect control over your time is a delusion that only fosters guilt and unhappiness. These components comprise the essence of this remarkable book, embodying its core brilliance and captivating essence. Part 1: The Delusion. You believe you can gain total control over your time. Burkeman contends that you and most humans live with the mistaken belief that if you try hard enough and find the right time management solutions, you should be able to gain total control over your time. Burkeman alludes to various time management solutions, but what are some of these solutions? One solution is Brian Moran's advice to separate your time into 3 different blocks, during which you tackle different activities. You dedicate yourself to thought-intensive projects in one block, administrative tasks in another, and mental rest in the third. Using this approach should give you control over how you spend your time, claims Moran. According to Burkeman, having total control over your time encompasses the ability to complete all necessary tasks and projects, both short-term and long-term, in the time you've allocated them, and the ability to decide exactly how to spend your time. Burkeman contends that his definition of having total control over your time is a delusion. Part 2: The reality. You'll never have total control over your time. We've just described the delusion you and most humans live under, which is that if you're disciplined and use the right tools, you can gain control over your time. Now, let's turn to the reality. Contrary to the promises of self-help gurus and time management tools, you'll never be able to wield total control over your time, alleges Burkeman. Others disagree with Burkeman's claim that common time-saving tools and tricks don't work, arguing that the only reason these tools may fail is that you don't know how to effectively use them. If you develop time awareness and planning skills before testing out time-saving tools, you should be able to use them to gain greater control over your time, they claim. Through a combination of personal anecdotes, research findings, and philosophical insights, Burkeman offers a refreshing perspective on how we can live more meaningful lives in the face of our limited time on Earth. By embracing the concept of 4,000 weeks, we can reframe our relationship with time and make choices that align with our values and priorities. And that wraps up our summary of 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. If you're looking to gain a new perspective on time management and productivity, be sure to check out this insightful book. You can find the link to acquire a copy of this incredible book in the description below. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you found this book summary helpful, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more book summaries and insightful content. And share this uplifting summary with someone who may benefit from hearing them. Leave a comment down below if you've read this book or have any other recommendations for us. Until next time, stay awesome and keep learning.